Well, it's February the 2nd, so with work yesterday, that's as close to Imbolc, whatever you call it, the festival that I could get. I'm off to Glastonbury. There also happens to be a motorcycle show at the Bath and West, Bristol Classic. It's always the first show of the year for me. I don't do it every year, but every now and again. It's been wet again for days, and this is a little break in the rain. I've got a bit of a cold, unfortunately, but you know, you've got to get out there and live your bloody life. I've been staying in Horsham, so this is not the usual departure point, but that's alright. Quick bomb up to Guildford and then get the whatever that road is that goes across to get the 303, well, A33 and 303, M3, etc. Anyway, it's about 8 o'clock in the morning, probably about 10 past, quarter past, and it's dry at the moment, so all is good. And if there's anything worth filming, I'll film it. Well, I've made it to Somerset. It's really, really windy. I'm struggling to stay up above 70. You get above 80, I've got all the luggage on, and some of the sweeping corners and stuff, it gets really a bit wobbly, so say I can do 80 in the straights. But it's nearly time to turn off, which is good news. Actually quite nice to stretch the old legs on this bike. I definitely feel like I could ride to Cornwall today, no problem. Unfortunately, I haven't really got time to ride back again tomorrow, so I reckon I'll stay in Somerset tonight. Anyway, just about to turn off, so catch up with you later. Right, nearly there. It's 24 minutes past 10 according to the clock on this thing, which is usually pretty good. I thought I'd get here about 10:30, and it proves to be so. It's been dry, although the roads have been wet the whole time, which is a shame. Very windy on the motorway, or the A road as it is. It's more like a motorway most of the time. There's also a load of crap on the road in the villages and lanes, so you can't really be too quick with your cornering, but there we are. You can see it's just wet everywhere. Anyway, I'm nearly there. Another couple of corners, so go and have a look at the show and see what it's like. Hopefully that big grey cloud won't turn into rain. Ooh, 3000 GT. Don't see very many of them anymore. There must have been 20 bikes going the other way, most of them BMWs, so I don't know if there's some kind of club ride somewhere today, but they were it's a bit weird they were going in the wrong direction, considering there's quite a big motorcycle show on here. Anyway, there we go. Maybe they came yesterday and this is their ride out, who knows. Oh, I don't think I'm going to get past these vans. I don't think it's worth it. I certainly could, but it's just a queue of traffic and I'm not far from the entrance, so it seems a bit pointless. Oi, windy. Well, it feels like it's rained for months, to be honest. I mean, I got back from Spain in middle of September and it was wet pretty soon after that, and it rained pretty much the whole time up until Christmas. I mean, you get 2 days off, maybe something like that, and then it starts again. Let's just go past these guys here, and then pretty much it's the same effort. For it was the same after Christmas as well. It's basically rained consistently the whole time, so you know, what can you do? You got to get out on the bike sometimes, and at the moment that has meant getting wet. There we go. I reckon this guy's probably going where I'm going, albeit probably slightly less comfortably, given that he's on a Harley. Of course I have a couple of these, and it has to be said, in February, it's not my choice of weapon for doing a long distance ride, but fair play to him, he's got it out and he's got it dirty, so that's good. It's obviously been very wet here as well, because everything has got a good layer of mud on it. There we are. Don't know what they're doing there. Maybe there's a riding school here or something. Oh, this is just mud, 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 mud. Look at it. Oh, and a few bumps. Hey. Nasty, nasty. Oh, there we go. I guess it's full up right to the top, so I better park up here. Oh, nice bit of diesel there. Morning.
Morning.
Oh, you don't mind cleaning it then?
I got caught. I went to Bristol Riders to get some new boots. Forecast said 4 o'clock. Got there. I got there at 1:30. In and out. Come back this side of Keynsham, go to Wincanton. Fucking empty. Come through a village. It was that deep across the road.
Yeah.
Double-decker bus come the other way. Chuck 5 gallons in my face. Open face helmet.
Brilliant.
That's every minute of it.
Here we are at the Bristol Classic. Just have a quick look in here. Quite a lot going on. I'm not going to stay long because I've done a million of these. It was only one of my reasons for being away today, but there we go. There's about 4 other halls as well. Alright, well, look at this road surface. Need a dirt bike. I'm just kidding. That's it, I'm done. I had a walk round. You'll have seen a bit of footage I did from inside, just to give you a rough idea. You could probably spend... Cheers! You could probably spend all day here if you had stuff to look for, but I was just having a wander, really. roads are a bit shitty. There we are. Right, so this might be a touch on the low side, I don't know. That's it. Close up for a minute. That's it. So that's the Bristol Classic done for another year, and it's probably about, what is it, 13 minutes past midday. There's some sheep in there. So I'm going to ride up to Glastonbury and get some lunch, and that's me done. And I'm staying overnight. I'm meeting an old friend for a cup of coffee later on, and then I'm at work tomorrow, so I'll have to bomb it back to London pretty early. Fingers crossed for a dry morning. So I don't know how much more filming I'll do, but maybe a little bit. We'll see. It is pretty slippery, it has to be said. There we go. If I want to be philosophical for a minute, I used to come to a lot of these shows and feel very much a part of it all, and I definitely don't anymore. And I think it's I think generally motorcycles are a love of mine, but it's more the travelling on them than the things themselves, if that makes any sense. So I mean, I'm looking at a Super Tenere Yamaha for doing a bit more dirt roads and gravel roads and that sort of riding out on longer trips. The SRT is fine for doing long distance stuff on tarmac. I mean, I wouldn't swap it. It's simple enough and old technology enough to be fairly easy to fix everywhere. No you know, it's cables, etc. No fly-by-wire throttles and all of that business that we have these days. No riding modes. Your riding mode is how sensible you're feeling and whether it's pissing down or not. So I have an internal riding mode in my brain that says, don't crack the throttle open, it's slippery, you know, that sort of thing, like bikers used to have to do. So I'm not bothered about all that stuff, to be honest. I'm quite happy with this bike for going, you know, ride to south of Spain and back, or ride into Germany and back, or Switzerland or whatever. This is absolutely a great bike. But I do fancy a Tenere for slightly dirtier off-road, on-road crossover kind of trips. But it's not really the bike itself. I'm not terribly interested in the bike itself. I want it to be reliable and fairly cheap to maintain, etc. Not terribly bothered about the initial price. I won't buy a brand new one, but you know, I don't mind buying a 2-year-old one with 15,000 on the clock, 20,000 on the clock, something like that. But again, it's not really the bike itself. I mean, it's the trips I'm interested in, really, not so much the bike itself. And I think that's why I've fallen a bit out of love with Harley Davidson, in that I should keep my wide glide, and I'm going to restore it a bit, rebuild it. The Ultra really hasn't worked for me very well, because ultimately it isn't great to ride. It's very comfortable for sitting on the highway, and that's about it. You get to some twisty roads, it's heavy and doesn't handle very well, and it's not particularly quick. And I can do without the image, if that makes any sense. I'm not terribly interested in the Harley image. I like doing my trips that I do. Don't give a shit what I look like or what people think about me. Hello dear, watch out. So probably that biker side, or looking like a kind of 1%er is probably in the past for me. Anyway, there we go. I think I've ranted enough. We'll turn back on in a bit. Well, here we go. We're in Glastonbury. And you can probably see the tour up there. I'm just rolling in behind a Patriot MC. So all's good. MCs don't generally wave at anybody. But he's been very good actually. He hasn't been riding it like he stole it, like a lot of these guys do. He's been rolling along at the speed limit, which has been really fucking dull, but never mind. And I should just pay him the respect of not blasting past him. Nope. Jesus. This is a crazy town. Straight over, down, and remember how to get there. I think we go this way. Adios, amigos. That's the high street. This is but close. We go this way. But close. And then we go around the back. It's a bit painful this actually, well there we go. I don't know a quicker way to get to this car park. This is always the same. It's always a bit of a pain in the arse, but never mind. Almost jealous of that Murphy Morello there, because they are one of the best van conversions you can get. I had one for a while and it was brilliant. Everything about it, the layout, the space, the way it used the space, you know, the way the bed was, everything about it was really good. Unfortunately, it was in a rather rusty Fiat, so I had to sell it on while it was still MOT-able. But I think if I went back to travelling in a van again for a while, I would probably look for one of those. Pretty sure it's up here. Yes, there's the crazy painted wall. BMW doesn't look where he's going. Oh dear. He's so blacked out he can't see anything by the looks of it. He's going to do 18 miles an hour all the way up here because he doesn't know where he's going. Look at that wall. That's a hell of a wall. And this is rather good too. But I want to be up there. Not this one, that one. There we go. Motorcycle parking. And we'll stick it here. That'll do. Oh, put the screen down. Right, time for lunch. Well, it's the morning after the night before, as I say. I met my friend and had a catch up, and also it's a sort of partly a business meeting, but we'll get to that another time. But anyway, I just thought I would I'd ride through Glasgow once, cause before I start I've got to head back basically. I've got work at it's 9:15 like that clock says up there, and at 1:45 I've got to be in Surrey starting to do a bit of work. So it's a bright and not particularly chilly morning. It's colder than it was yesterday, but then it's drier than it was yesterday as well. So I think I would trade slightly colder for slightly drier. That's a decent trade as far as I'm concerned. I actually didn't have any dinner last night because the lunch I had was so ginormous. Rainbow's End Cafe, where I always go in Glastonbury, do a Sunday roast, which is of course for me a nut roast. I mean they don't serve any meat products in there anyway, but yeah, it's just the most massive slab and all sorts of vegetables and things, and Yorkshire puddings, and I mean it's just, I think probably half of it would be a decent portion. But anyway, I did eat all of it of course, and because I'm a greedy bastard, and then I sat and waited for Em for an hour, and then when she turned up I bought some kind of a slice sort of desserty thing. So I just had an absolutely immense lunch. So yeah, there we go. So I didn't bother. I just bought some fruit from the co-op and had that at about 8 o'clock last night, and I'm absolutely fine. I'm not ravenous this morning at all. So that was that. Anyway, I think breakfast will be either the Haynes Museum or Morrison's, depending on how the timing is going. I'm going to try Haynes, but if they're not serving yet, they're not ready to do me a nice breakfast, then I shall move along to Morrison's at Wincanton and have their cheapy poverty breakfast. I mean, it's very nice. It's just half the price of Haynes. That's all I mean. But I don't really mind which I have. I'd rather have the Haynes one because it's sort of a bit more of a meal, and I'm probably not going to get any lunch, so it's got to do me till tonight. But it's lovely to be on the road. I'm halfway to Cornwall, and I'd like to be doing the other half in the other direction today, really, rather than back to London. But you know, it is what it is. I get lots of holiday, I suppose. I can't grumble too much, so I do on purpose take these Monday mornings off, so I have got time to be leaving somewhere on Sunday morning or Saturday and having a night or two away over the weekend. I do it obviously a lot more in the summer than I do it in the winter, but you know, there's nothing wrong with the odd winter trip. You just have to wrap up and make good use of your heated gear. I actually haven't, I've got a heated waistcoat thing on, but I've not actually turned the thing on this trip once because it's been so mild. Amazing, really, considering it's, I suppose it's the 3rd of February now. But I mean, this bike show I went to yesterday for a few hours is often, I mean, there's often more cars than bikes, and, well, there was yesterday too, but it's often pretty bleeding cold and unpleasant. And you never quite warm up while you're walking around it, but I was absolutely golden yesterday. The ride wasn't particularly cold, and the show, I got sort of colder walking around the show than I did doing the 2 hours riding down from London, so it's bizarre. These mild winters is very strange. Anyway, I checked my oil this morning and it's down on the lowest visible marking, so I need to put a tiny bit of oil in this old thing. But considering I haven't put any oil in it since, God knows, probably when I got back from being away, like riding back from Gibraltar in September, it really doesn't use any. I mean, considering it's, well, I don't know what year this is, a 98, so it's quite a few years old. 22 years old around. I don't know when it was registered. Doesn't use a lot of oil, and it's a pretty reliable old bus, really. This is a nice ride, even though there's a bit more traffic this morning because it's a bit later, and I guess people have got to go and do things on a Monday morning, so it's a bit busier. But you know, just to see some fields and some sheep is good for the heart, good for the soul. Anyway, that's me rabbiting. I'll shut up for now. Well, I got rained on, but not for long, maybe 10 minutes, and now the sun's come out, and I'm in a really glorious bit of the 303 here, because a lot of it's really wide open. Of course, I've just turned on the camera when the bit that's not wide open, but it'll be wide open again in a minute. Joseph, funny, is Yusuf really. He's a Turk. Been here for years. Always in the same spot. Oop. Maybe I should slow down a touch. The camera's facing the other way in this village, so it's not the end of the world, but let's show it a bit of courtesy. There we go. The fuel seems to have got much more expensive all of a sudden. It's nicely flooded. It was 120 125 not so long ago, and it seems to be pretty much universally over 130 now. Even Morrison's, where I filled up this morning, was 130, which is they're normally as cheap as it gets, especially the Wincanton one. Anyway, on we go. Won't be long before we're passing Stonehenge. So we expect a queue of traffic any moment. That's usually what it's like going past Stonehenge. I'll turn this back on in a minute. Actually, we're pretty much there, so see if we can't jump ahead by a couple of cars. It is marked straight on in this lane as well, although it's slightly cheeky, but the road's dry, so we'll do it. And we just nip in here. There we go. Can usually take a couple of them, and now we join the procession past the stones. Huge field of pigs over there. They keep moving them around, but they're basically in this field somewhere. Nearer here, further away. Looks like there's a load of sheep over there as well. You can see the barrows everywhere, these little burial mounds that are just dotted all over. And there's the Drove, which is at the moment seems to be open. Yep, it's open. They're desperate to close that and stop people driving in there, but there was a legal case and they lost, and I think they've appealed again and it's ongoing, but at the moment it's open, which is good news. If it can stay open for the summer, I might get to camp up there one more time. Anyway, there we go. There she is. There we go. Right, that might be it for me, because it's fairly boring after this all the way back, and I've got to be at work by 1:45, so I might have to get a shimmy on, and that means not having the camera running, obviously. Right, catch you next time. Well, that was it. Quick 100-mile blat. I'm back in Surrey, and it's time to go to work. Well, once I've had a quick cuppa, that is. There we go. So that's definitely doable. Definitely doable. I mean, the traffic's been with me. I've been doing 80 plus the whole time. Obviously, I haven't really. I've been sticking to the speed limit. But that was easy. A little 10-minute rain shower, and it's been warm and sunny for most of it. So, hey, there we go. I'm about 20 minutes, 15 minutes maybe away from work, and I gotta get a coffee because I'm early. Right, we'll see you on the next one.